Hello, my friends, and welcome, welcome. So lovely to be with you. I was One of the things that I've been focusing on in recent days is really appreciating the benefits of having practiced loop of awareness for many years. And I wanted to share some of those with you each time because I've been noticing that there's a kind of an exponential increase in benefits as I'm practicing. And one thing that occurred to me today to share is that it increases what people call your situational awareness. So, what I call locating, that I'm both aware of me and aware of my surroundings. And the dimensionality of that translates into some practical benefits. I was in the kitchen the other day and making something, and and I was chopping, and something started to go off the counter, and my hand just reached out and got it without there was no thought. So what I bypassed was uh-oh, or oh, what do I do about I bypassed going up, and my body just reached out and got it. It was no big deal, but it could have, been a crash and things breaking, and a big uproar. So the practical benefit is that you actually are able to respond in your environment more dimensionally rather than in the kind of linear ABC narrow way that a lot of our sensory input now is programming us to do. So I also this morning had this image that I wanted to share with you for not only loop of awareness, but for your love scoops. When I was 10 years old, my best girlfriend and I, Linda Roberts, took we had inner tubes that we got to float on down the Ohio River, and our parents let us go for about 10 miles. And we were just in the inner tubes and floating along the river and noticing the trees and the different animals as we were going by. And it was one of the most delicious experiences that I remember of my childhood. And I wanted to invite you to let your love experience be an inner tube this morning. And I'd like you to just settle yourself down in this inner tube and let yourself be floating along in the river of love. And I'd like you to let your hands dangle out to the sides, just experiencing how that flow of love can carry you and hold you. And then you can just kind of scoop up if you want to refresh. You can just scoop up a little and let it roll over your head. And you can splash some on you anywhere that that's needed, so that your love scoops don't have to be energetic or effortful. They can just be a recognition that you're flowing along in love and that love surrounds you. The other benefit of all of this practice that was coming to me today is that I respond so much more from my whole body wisdom. I have really, I had a flee up and flee forward. My anticipator, uh-oh, would come up, several times a day, sometimes more with more intensity, and sometimes just a kind of a low lying, anxiety and anticipation. And that is really by and large just gone. I just don't live there anymore. And I realize that I live in this really open ocean river of love that just takes me, and I don't have to effort as much. So imagine you can be going through your life being guided by your body's response to what's going on, and that your head can be in there to make decisions when you have information, but it's not your go-to. Your go-to is this river of love that's carrying you, and you don't really know exactly where it's carrying you, but you can feel the carrying. So I'd like you to tune into where you might like to have the river completely, circle you or lap up against you. I'm feeling like my left hip, particularly, it's just been a little bit tweaky recently, so I'm going to get a little more flow around that. And also, the flow allows you to notice not only what's going on in front of you, but what's going on all around you, the whole body. If you tune into floating in your inner tube, that can give you a sense of what's going on behind you, what's going on around you. And so I'd like you to let your attention just be going out and around, and not necessarily from your eyes, that you can hear, you can sense into, you can feel. And then you're returning to that sense of, I'm being carried, I'm being held. And notice in you where you would most like to experience being held. See if you'd be willing to let the water, let your hands can do that, where you would most like to be held. Yeah. And as I do that, I can also feel a kind of sinking into myself, sinking into my center, and I can experience that sense of being held all the way down through my feet and then out beyond my feet, so that swirling, sometimes when I'm in the bathtub and I want to put a little bit more hot water in, if I just get the pulse of the water, I can just use my hands over to one side and it starts a current, and the current very easily brings in more warmth. So I'd like you to just create a little current around any place in you that would like a little bit more love, that would like a little bit more attention. So it can be, you can do that energetically, you can do that with your attention, you can do that with your movement, just creating a current, because that also lets us know that movement and the movement of energy is one of our basic sources of nourishment. It's one of the basic nutrients that can give us that refreshment all day long. The other thing that's just occurring to me, because last week I took Gay down to LA from where we live in Ojai, which is about 80 miles, and back, and got a chance to be in the current of the freeways that are in Southern California, which I've had people visit me from Europe and say, I just won't drive in LA. They're so frightened of driving in LA. And I can totally understand, you've got 12 lanes and everybody's going and they're zipping in and out. So one of the practices, one of the benefits of the practice of loop of awareness is timing. That if you're going up into your head, you're going to miss the timing. But if you are located and you're in the stream, it's very easy to see where to move over, where to slow down. And what I also want to invite you to do with your loop of awareness, because we usually send it out in front of us. So I'd like you to let the loop of awareness actually loop around you and looping out and around you. Because I realize that I've had years and years of practicing this when I'm driving. So I'm looking out in front of me, but I'm also checking my rear view mirrors, and I'm also actually letting my body sense into and back of me, because a lot of what you're opening up is your sensory awareness, not just your visual awareness, that you have so many little sensors and ways of responding to life and ways to responding to what's going on. And the more that you're in your whole body wisdom, the more exquisite your timing will be and more effortless. Just knowing, oh, I should get off here. I think I'm going to slow down now. I have actually avoided accidents. Oh, probably, at least a half a dozen, if not a dozen, from the practice of loop of awareness, because my body signals will let me know, oh, there's something going on here. And the so what I'd like you to tune into is the first beginnings of fear, because we're not trying to eliminate fear, but to befriend it and respond to it. So I actually get a little, like when I'm out in the world, I get a little tingly. There's a little tingly thing that I get that's at the sides of my face and in my neck. And that's it's a light uh-oh. It's not a but what I've learned is that in those currents, I can now sense when there's something that I need to give my attention to. But all of that is going on as a whole body experience rather than something that I need to control from my head. So just as a sample, go up into your head and to review the way that you respond to when there's a challenge in the environment, or you think, oh, there's a lot of traffic here, or, oh, something's happening over there. And we usually go up and we want to know, uh-oh, what is it? And we go all intellectual. So what if that were a signal for you to just circulate your attention? Because that's what is going to give you oh, it's over here. And your body, your whole body wisdom is going to get that much more quickly than your logical brain. So the benefits of the practice may not occur to you sort of all at once. So I wanted to just give you a little bit of a menu so you can start to notice, oh, that's starting to show up, because this wasn't anything I was like going for. The practice of loop of awareness is something that I generated, quite a long time ago. And then noticing what has occurred for me, like I have not bumped into things in ages and ages. And when I start bumping into things, I use that as a signal of, okay, I am not located right now. And so I will do more loop of awareness, like, okay, what's going on out here? But also, oh, I've been forgetting me. Because we're either going to forget out here, but usually we forget in here. So I want you to really favor when you start bumping into things or you notice that you're not quite located, favor more. Oh, okay, giving more attention to me. Okay, and what? Oh, okay, more breath. Oh, my back wants some attention right now. Oh, I'm still mad at the guy who didn't fix my. Okay, so it will let you know in completions things that you need to take care of, but it will allow you to then locate yourself just more fully in your whole body. So give yourself a big, to scoop up some of that river of love and give it to any place that's wanting a little bit more. Like I'm just wanting a little bit more in the back of my neck. And I always notice that opens my breath. That I feel more of a deepened relaxation, warmth flow in my body. And that's part of the benefit. And if you're in any kind of doubt, just simply give some attention out, give some attention in. And if you do that for a couple of minutes, I really, I know that you'll experience more of your own presence and more choice. So the biggest benefit for me of Love Scoops and Loop of Awareness is that I have more choice, and more choice than I even know that I have. And so discovering more choice is one of the big delights. So I want to take us into Presence Connect Play to see what that has for us today. And I'm just noticing that Alice is here. Happy birthday, Alice. So I want to, so presence. Oh, this is lovely. Notice your breath with a When I bring the to my breath, it feels very melty. And my breath settles. I get more expansion with my breath. So presencing through your breath and movement, but particularly breath, is such a quick and easy way to come more deeply into yourself. And you can use that anytime. You can use a couple of, like, if you don't get the doesn't settle you right away, 3 to 8 with breathing will really shift your presence. And then connect is give attention to where others' body and breath is open. So just since we have some people to practice with, let yourself just notice other people on the call, and let yourself give attention to where in them you notice an opening. So you're just lightly like, yes, just extending your yes. And then again, coming back to you. And again, these can all be repeated. It's not a one-off. So you can come back to these. And I want to just remind us all that connection is a nutrient that can replace our addiction to adrenaline. So connection is so much more nourishing and satisfying. So, and especially looking for the opening. And I've been studying, gosh, how can we bridge? How can we bridge the great divide that's going on in so much of our social and community interactions? And for me, actually looking for the opening, looking for space in others is very different than my judger, who's always looking for what's wrong and how I'm doing it so much better than others are. But if I'm actually shifting to, what's open over here, that in itself creates a connection. So I invite you to let yourself play with that this week. And then play. This is a version of essence pace, is get way faster and to get way slower. So you can do that even as you're sitting. So you can get way faster and you're, oh God, I've got to pay attention to this. I got this list of things I've got to do. And oh my gosh, there's somebody outside. And just notice that, and then get way slower. Like, I just don't want to get up now. I think I'll just look out the window. And if you do that several times, you get way faster and way slower, what will tend to happen is that you'll find the pendulum swing. You'll settle into the rhythm that is your essence rhythm for right now. And so you don't need to always do it with walking. You can practice your essence pace just by letting some part of you get way faster and then way slower and way faster and way slower. You can do it with your breathing, your movement, just even as you're sitting. So that's our play for today. I really appreciate y'all being here. And I'm going to take my leave now and invite you to continue communing as you like, and look forward to seeing you next time. Bye now.